All right. We're almost done with this section here, where it's about my previous job, and we're gonna get in. I'll fill this out by tomorrow's episode of all of the stories that happened at my restaurant. Should be able to get through all of this. All this one, just no pay. That one I kind of covered in the other episodes or daily vlogs, where on average we got paid. I would say I got paid on average maybe like $2 to $3 per hour. So just to frame how poor the pay was, and it wasn't like I agreed to it. It wasn't like, okay, I'll take the job for that much per hour. Because actually, when I first started doing events with him, we came to agreement. You pay me minimum wage, and that's it. Very simple. I'll write down my hours, and then you pay me $10 an hour. And it always more excuses about not getting paid and all that stuff, and whatever. It's done. And getting fired 50 times that. So this was at when the restaurant. I didn't cover. This is before his restaurant opened. I guess this is gonna move down here, and then up here I'll write the stories about what happened at that restaurant, because this was all before. This actually happened when his restaurant was open. There's a fly flying around in the restaurant, and then it landed, and then the chef, he picked up the other chef's expensive honing steel that was like a gift to him from this restaurant he used to work at, and then he just went like this. Like if this was the tabletop and then this was a fly, he just went like this with the honing steel, which was like made with ceramic or something. And then it snapped completely in half. He went so gentle. It was like it wasn't like pa. When he hit the fly, it was just like he just like saw it, and then he just picked up the steel and just went. And then the whole honing steel snapped in half. I would say it's at least a couple $100 honing steel, but the main thing is it had sentimental value. And it's like, oh shit. And then the other chef comes over, and then they get into it like, well, what happened? How did it break and all that? And then the chef was like, there was a fly, and I just went like this, and then it broke. Yeah, and then they got into a whole like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was funny. He literally is like, there's a fly, and then it's like he just went like, and then it snapped completely in half. Let's see. I saw this story. This was for the event where we prepped for a very, very long time, and we had to do 26,000 small dishes or whatever. 26 or 13,000. It was one of those. But I remember specifically, we got all this equipment and ingredients, equipment, and all that stuff, because the chef was he knew I was good at like guesstimating how much to prep and all that, and obviously making 1,000 portions of something, like you could kind of estimate how big is a portion, then you multiply it by 1,000. So I was guessing risotto is probably gonna be maybe 4 ounces per plate, and then you multiply that by 1,000. That's 4,000 ounces divided by 16. That's like 280 pounds. 280 pounds. No, that's not right. Let's do some math. 4,000 for 1,000 portions at 4 ounces. That's 4,000 ounces divided by 16. I haven't done paper math like this in forever. Let's see if I remember how. 32, 800, 50, 250 pounds. Okay, now, as we know, risotto gets a lot bigger when you cook it and you add in all the other stuff. But anyways, he gave me, I think it was like 4 bags of rice, and each bag is I think each bag is like 50 pounds or something. And no, that's not right. I didn't think the portion was, I think I thought the portion would be like 2 ounces or something, because 4 ounces is ridiculous. So yeah, 125. I thought we should make 125 pounds because each bag was 25 pounds, and then 4 bags, that's 100 pounds of raw risotto. Or raw, just the rice, not the cream, not the water, not anything else. So he gave me 100 pounds of raw rice, and then I was like, chef, I think this is too much. And then he was like, shut the fuck up and just do it. And then I was like, okay. So I chop up a bunch of onions, I do the whole thing, and then we have this tilt skillet, and then he tells me we grab like whole bottles of wine, maybe like six bottles or something. Like I have like 20 to 50 pounds of onions. I saute it. I do the standard risotto thing, but instead of like working it with a rubber spatula, you're using this big like stick thingy to stir everything. And yeah, he gave me 100 pounds. So this is what we need. Raw rice. I said, I think 100 pounds of rice is too much to make 125 pounds of end product. And he yells at me, and I'm like, okay, I'll just. And then, yeah, I'm making the risotto, and then I have like beef chicken base or something, you know, the miners, whatever, and we're like putting it in there, and then I'm like stirring it, and then I'm adding water, and then he comes by, and then he's like, how is it? And by this point, it's probably already at like 200 pounds. And then when he came over, he was like, oh, that's a lot. And I was like, I know. And he was like, is it almost cooked? And I was like, no, it's really raw, it's crunchy. It didn't even absorb anything yet, and it's already 200 pounds. So he goes away, and then he comes back like, I don't know, however long later. And then the thing went from like 100 pounds to 200 pounds. It's probably like 300 pounds now. And then he's like, we have to leave it undercooked, and then we'll finish it over there. I'm like, okay. And then I cooked it probably I took it 90% of the way there, and then it was probably like 400 pounds or something. It was ridiculous. But yeah. Anyways, we go to the event, and you know those big black trash bags? We lined one of those big coolers with it, and then we dumped all the risotto in there after it was cool, because I cooled it separately on like 30 hotel pans, and then I dumped it all in there after it was cold. So literally a full black garbage bag, I don't know how many gallons that is, lined in there, and then filled it to the top. And then there was still extra that we left at the school because there was just too much. And yeah, we get to the event. The whole event went fine. There wasn't too much yelling because there was a lot of other culinary students helping, so you couldn't really go ballistic. Because yeah, you can't yell at cooks that aren't yours. Anyways, we show up at the event, and then everyone's standing around this one campfire burner, the butane one. We're all standing there, and then we're waiting for the chef to come. He comes, and he's like, okay, this is how you do it. You scoop the rice, and he scoops like this much rice in there, and then we have like a whole thing of water or something, and then we have a pot of water boiling. He heats it up, and then he adds water to make it the right consistency and to get it cooked. So he puts this much, and then it basically gets maybe 30% bigger. So it went from being like total, if all of it got cooked, it would have went from like 300, 400 up to like 450 to 500 pounds. So we generous estimate. At most we would need 125, like I said, and we ended up with, this is my left hand, 500 pounds if it all got cooked. Obviously it didn't get cooked, because after he did that and he spooned it onto a plate, this grew into this, but in this there was 2 portions. So the portion size was actually about half an ounce. Half ounce. So half an ounce of portion size, 500 pounds of yield. Now, there's 16 ounces in 1 pound. All right, so 500 pounds times 16, we made 8,000 portions of risotto. We only needed 1,000. And at the event, we didn't even sell 1,000. We sold like 400 or 500. So we had this joke that the risotto kept regenerating, because every time we scoop some off the top, it would just like fill the hole. It was like an endless blob of risotto. And yeah, after the whole event was done, you couldn't even tell that we scooped anything out of it. It was just like maybe like this much would be way too much already. So yeah, we made 8,000 portions. I don't even think this is right. There had to be more than 10 times. There had to be more than yeah, there had to be more than that. It was crazy how much it was. It was that massive cooler, and it literally took 2 people to lift it. You couldn't squat it by yourself. And there was more left at the restaurant, at the school. Anyways, yeah, this whole story can be summed up in, he asked me how much I think we should prep, and then I was like, oh, maybe like 1.5, maybe 2 at most if you want to be really safe. Well, he gave me 4 bags, and then I said, I think this is too much, and then he yelled at me, and then turns out it was too much. Yeah, that's that story. How much? 13.